Ladies and gentlemen, please take your seats.
How do you jump into the shoes of an iconic moment in history? You know, if you're within the sound of my voice, that must mean that you're in the seats with once more. As always, my name is Dave Voigt, and I'm the host of this podcast where we sit down with a wide-ranging variety of entertainment industry professionals. We pick their brain about current projects, state of the industry, how they got started, and so very much more in a light and in a conversational fashion. And I'd like to remind you, this is also an audio-only experience to maximize the ease and the conversation and the fun. And, well, if you like what you hear, please subscribe. You know, hit that subscribe button, give us a 5-star rating on your podcast provider of choice. We're available pretty much everywhere, places like Apple, Amazon, Spotify, Google. Plus, we archive every single one of our episodes over at our In the Seats YouTube channel. So if you can give us a like and subscribe there as well, we'd absolutely appreciate it. Also, don't hesitate to check us out on social media. We're on the Facebook, the Twitter, the Instagram, Letterboxd, the TikTok, the Blue Sky, the Threads. I'm losing track, but we're in the seats for all sorts of fun updates. And finally, and I do dare say most importantly, please pay us a visit over at In the Seats, intheseats.ca, for all the latest and greatest in the world of film, television, basically the moving image at large. Because guess what? If we live to watch it and write about it and talk about it, we love it all that much more when you come by and read about it and listen about it. So please do us that ultimate kindness. Come on by and pay us a visit. On this episode, we dive into something that on paper looks like a vanity experiment, and let's face it, it is a vanity experiment. But in the hands of a master filmmaker, it ends up being one of the best pictures of the year. In theaters tomorrow, or right now, depending on when you're listening to us, it's Nouvelle Vague from director Richard Linklater. And it's the story of Jean-Luc Godard. After years of writing for Cahiers du Cinema as a critic, he decides that making films will be the best film criticism of all. He gets a producer to fund a low-budget feature, creating a treatment with Francois Truffaut about a gangster couple, and hence the experience known as Breathless is born. The freeform insanity, the shared insanity, the call to arms, and the joyousness of the cast of misfit toys that it takes to make a movie is really what Nouvelle Vague is all about. And we had the pleasure of sitting down and talking with the guy who leading it all, not the director, but the guy who played Jean-Luc Godard, which is a task in and of itself. One and only Guillaume Marbeck in his first, yeah, you heard me right, his first leading role, and he does a fantastic job with this. He really is a revelation. And we talked with him about the sort of legacy of the film, auditioning to play this iconic character, and so very much more. We had a great conversation, and I hope you like it, because I know I did. And go check out Nouvelle Vague. But like I said, first, enjoy our talk with Guillaume, because between you and me, it's a pretty darn good one. All right, Guillaume, man, obviously, first off, just, man, thank you so much for the time today. I really appreciate this. I mean, congratulations on the movie, man. I absolutely loved it.
Thank you, David.
I, I,
It's
I
a pleasure.
oh, well, the pleasure is mine. And I mean, I got to ask, because this film is not only a love letter to cinema, it's a love letter to the shared insanity that it takes to actually make a movie in the first place. And I mean, I've got to ask, like, what was the story that brought you and Richard together for this glorious little piece of shared insanity?
Well, the story is I was an extra before making this movie. I haven't been in a project like this as an actor, even a small part. All I've done is extra or silhouette, like just one line blurry in the background that you don't really notice.
Right, right.
So before this, it has been 10 years and maybe more that I've researched to understand, like, by doing every job that I could across on a movie set, and also in production and in distribution, to understand what is a movie. How do you make a movie? What is doing this person? Because I wanted to be a director, and I felt like if I knew what every job is doing, I will know my job, because boundaries in cinema is kind of difficult. You don't know where the script is stopping, where the acting starts, and where the directing comes in. So it's kind of a mix of all this, and it's kind of difficult to understand. But then, so I did every job, and the last one I haven't done was acting. So I did 2 years of acting, and I I had to do this because I was a terrible director. When I was talking to actors, I would tell them to go one way and they would go another. And and it was frustrating for me to not be able to have my vision being done on set. So I realized I had to learn how to talk to actors. So I took lessons. And after this, I liked it. And I thought like, okay, if someday there's a good project that comes to me and that is nice, I'll do it. So I put some pictures online and a videotape of all my project I've done in acting, like student projects, and also a presentation video where I wanted to present myself as I am, uh, not what I was acting. And this is what found the casting director. And he thought this guy is close to Godard in some way. Like it was not obvious, but there's a little thing about Godard that maybe could work, you know. And he sent me an email and he says, "So yeah, I'm looking for Jean-Luc Godard. He's making his movie Breathless for the first time, and oh, it's directed by Richard Linklater. Yeah, one of the greatest director of all time nowadays." So I thought it was a scam, you know. For sure, I was an extra. Who would pay attention to me and offer me such a role? It's nonsense. Then it turns out that it was true because 6 months later, I got a call back from the casting director after meeting him the first time. 6 months later, he tells me like, "Yeah, Richard is gonna be here in 3 days. Do you want to still meet him? Here's 25 pages of text." And yeah, we'll meet on Monday. I said, yeah, okay. But I, I, I lost the glasses from the first audition, and if you want to portray Godard, you need some really strong glasses that makes you think that you're Godard. And so I called my optician friend, and he couldn't find them anymore, and I lost them. So I was kind of embarrassed by the situation. And he told me like, okay, come to the store tomorrow because he's an optician and I'll give you glasses for your audition. So I went, but he arrives late, like 50 minutes late, and he's soaking wet because he has a plumbary issue. And he tells me like, grab any glasses, and then I'm closing the store. I need to repair my stuff at home. I'm pissed off, and then I took the glasses. I go home. I dress up like Godard because they wanted like outfits and stuff like to think the character. So I arrived late, like maybe 15 minutes late, and they said like, yeah, yeah, they're waiting for you. Go upstairs. So I went upstairs, and there I I got off the elevator with my scooter, and I turned, and there was like 50 people staring at me. And one was the producer, Michelle, that I didn't knew she was the producer, and she said, "Yeah, what the fuck, you are late." And then I remember I thought like I saw interviews of great actors, and they all said like first impression is key. So what would Godard say? And I thought he wouldn't make excuses. So I just parked my scooter and I say, "Yeah, of course I'm late. I needed those glasses." And then she said, "What?" And then they started laughing. I started explaining the whole story and stuff. And this began the day. And then we spent 8 hours of casting with 10 different actors playing different scenes. And it ended by uh, a scene with the casting director that was portraying the producer where we fight during the pinball scene. And he said, like, we're gonna fight gently just to make like the tension and stuff. And I said, okay, no problem. I faked that I knew how to do it. But then when we fought, I torn his pinky and he was jumping around like hurt as hell. And I thought, okay, this is now the moment where I'm out, you know. I fucked up. I almost injured the casting director, and he is about to go to the hospital. This is goodbye, Godard. And then there's Linklater pops in with his hand like this, and he says, "Oh, I can't wait filming this scene. This is so great. This remembers me, my first movie I wanted to make, and my producer he wanted to make a completely different movie, and I had to punch him in the face. This is so great. I love it." And then the producer came to me, and she says, "So we talked a lot together, and we think you have to go home with the script." And I looked at her like, "What is happening? Is this a yes or a no?" And there's no answer. So I said to her, like, "But are you sure you're allowed to give me the script?" And she says, "I'm the producer, so if there's anybody allowed to give you the script, it's me." And then I got back home with the script, and I started reading it. I started being like, I'm on a cliff right now, about to jump into something that I don't know, because Godard is on every page, and I've barely had one line to read in a short blur in the background. So this is kind of scary. And then 2 weeks later, I get a call from the casting director, and he says, "Did shows. It's gonna be you." And then I had so many feelings inside of me. I felt finally it's been more than 10 years. I wanted to be part of a movie at this level, like a head of like a department, any department. I didn't care, I just wanted to make movies. And now I'm the lead actor of this movie. And also, this is so great, but also, this is petrifying because I'm on every page. This is gonna be like a strong burden to to have on my shoulders.
Well, that leads into something that I'm curious about because obviously, as an obvious cinephile and someone who knows their history, Godard had a bit of a reputation for being, well, eccentric, for the lack of a better term. And I mean, I'm kind of curious, how did you manage to sort of separate what you knew historically from sort of the character on the page, especially as an actor for the first time, literally being on every page?
Well, the method I used was like Godard methods. He on the set, he would only give the line of the actor the day he was shooting, not the day before, because he didn't want them to be prepared. So what I did was I studied every bit of information I could get from him from the beginning of his life until shooting Breathless. So I knew his life, who he was, what he's been through. He lost his mother and couldn't say goodbye to her on her deathbed.
Mm.
He was dumped by his girlfriend just before the shooting. He has more than at least three siblings. He's not a lonely child. He has a part of his family is rich, part is poor. Uh, and all this was my information, my inputs to understand, like, okay, there's this situation. Truffaut is holding a woman. It's not his wife. He has a wife on top of that. And I just lost my girlfriend. How do I feel about like this image? Like seeing this, what do I feel? How can I implement this into the scene to make it more real, more like his life? And this helped me also about not making too much about an icon, because back then he was just not Godard, he was Jean-Luc trying
Mm.
to make his first movie. He thought he was a visionary. He thought he could change the face of cinema. He thought he had new ideas, new ways of making movies. He had this vision, but those movies didn't exist in the cinema field, so he had to build them. And when you have to build something, you're not sure you're gonna accomplish this. And so also Richard told us before making the movie, during rehearsal, he gave us a manifesto saying, "You're not playing the icons, you're playing Jean-Luc, Jean-Paul, Jean. You're young people that wants to make cinema. You don't know how this movie is going to turn out. You don't know even if Godard is capable of making a movie that is watchable. Maybe it's going to be a bankrupt.
Mm.
Maybe he's just full of shit. You don't know. You don't know who this guy is. The only thing you know is that you're participating to this project because you want to have fun making a first movie."
Oh, but I mean, there's also especially for you, the envy and the stress was there. I mean, even like in seeing sitting in the writer's room at Cahiers with like Romer and going, "Oh, fuck you, man, you've already made your movie," and
Yeah.
sort of having that sort of palpable tension really made the character so much more alive and very much. I mean, I guess sort of. I don't want to say prescient, but almost it felt very palpable when it comes to the sort of the realities of making your first movie.
Yeah, of course. Because you always, this is the thing. The audience, they are only seeing the movie that gets made.
Yeah,
They don't see the movie that didn't get made, the struggle of people trying to make the movie, the scenes that are cut off, the nightmare on the set where when you are spending so many money on a scene that didn't end up in the movie and you have to cut it in the editing room and the producer is mad at you and and everything like this, like all this very vivid organic life that is behind a movie, it's erased from it when you are watching it because you're just watching the story that the art is made real for you. You're not seeing the reality of the shooting, you're seeing the reality of the art.
yeah,
and and this part can feel like when you talk about, like, for example, Richard Linklater. Now you see Nouvelle Vague of Richard Linklater, but you don't think it should have been hard for him to make this movie, you know. You think, oh, he's Richard Linklater. For sure he's making Nouvelle Vague. It's okay. Of course it's a good idea. But if you think about it, it's been 10 years he's trying to make this movie happen. He wants to make it in black and white. No TV wants it in black and white.
of course,
He
yeah.
wants he wants it to be 4:3. No TV wants it 4:3. He doesn't want to hire known actors because he wants the audience to believe into the characters that is unknown. And all this is just unbunkable. It's the complete opposite of bankable. Of course, he has his name, but there are so many productions that said no for 10 years to make this movie happen. And now the audience has the pleasure to enjoy it. And they don't get like this tension of like how hard it can be.
Well, I mean, Richard has this real knack and track record for making structure out of artistic chaos. And I mean, the making of Breathless is probably the epitome of what artistic chaos probably could be defined as. And I'm kind of curious, as someone looking at him work, how do you think he sort of gave this chaos form? Because again, it's one of those things. Even in watching Breathless, it's hard to understand in the first grasp. I can imagine making a movie about the making of something of Breathless is one that you've still had to process, probably even up to this day.
Yeah. And so to answer your question, um, I think he's creating chaos by not really telling you what he wants. He's more, his way of directing is asking questions. He's like, what do you think about this scene? What do you think of the character? What is the energy you're thinking of this character in this particular scene? Do you think he could be more happy? Do you like this jacket? Uh, do you think you can go here? It's questions. And he is questioning everyone. This is just for acting, but he is doing the same with costumes, uh, machinery, with DOP. He's questioning everyone, like getting inputs. And then he just picks whatever is the best option to him, like in a menu. What do you have on the menu today? Pizza, salad. Let's take, oh, I just came out of boxing gym.
I'm curious, have you been able to watch Breathless since making this film? Because I mean, I'll admit, after seeing Nouvelle Vague, I did watch Breathless again,
Yeah.
and it gave me a different perspective just on terms of what was being done and how the film ultimately came together. And I mean, again, Breathless is one of those movies that you can watch 100 times in a row and get 100 different perspectives. But I can imagine after making this film, you found like number 101.
Yeah. So yeah, after making the movie about the movie, making the movie, and watching Breathless, uh, it felt like Godard was uh, was imitating us, and it felt really, really disappointing for me. Like, not disappointing, but I felt like, what the fuck, he's filming in the same location we did, you know? He has no originality. We made it, now he makes it. What the fuck, you know? It felt really like he has made a movie in the same location as us, and that he was the one making making it after, because it feels like you're making the movie, you're watching the movie you made,
Yeah.
and then you're watching the movie Godard made during the movie you made. So it feels like he just copied you, you know? But the reality is that we copied so well his work to, to try to have the same location, the same clothing, the same aesthetic, that it tricked me into thinking that he did went to the same places, but we rebuilt those places. So it's us that did this, but surely he has been, well, this is my point of view, but for a general point of view, if you are an audience and you've never been part of making a movie, watching Nouvelle Vague and then watching Breathless really makes you feel what you feel when you made a movie, and then you go to the projection with the crew and you
Right.
watch the movie. And and making a movie feels like a summer camp, kind of.
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah.
very joyful, it's very happy, it's very sweet moments. It's like you're having a lot of interaction with a lot of people that you're not gonna see after making the movie, and then you come together and you watch the movie, and then it's not the thing that you think you that you thought you shot, because you had one point of view during the movie. You're maybe turning the lamps on, sometimes you're not in the room watching the actors, you're making sandwiches, or you're doing many stuff, so there's a lot of things that you miss from like the actual project at the end, and you feel something different because you thought you're gonna see a movie about like what you did, like the the film of your vacations. You know, when you go on vacation, you film stuff, and it feels like the thing you experienced. But when you go to see a movie that you've been part of, it's completely different. And it's so great that people that don't have a chance to be part of movie making can experience this, because I think if you experience this, then after seeing those two films, you can know if movie making is a thing for you or not.
And I mean, it's so amazing to watch because I mean, I know everyone has sort of their, they hold the French New Wave so close and just had hold it in such high regard. I had the sense while watching Nouvelle Vague that Godard is laughing his ass off watching it, going, that prick Linklater made a movie about me making my movie. I wish I was still alive so I could go make a movie about him making a movie about my movie.
Yeah,
This is meta before it was meta.
yeah. Tarantino said that somebody someday will make a movie about our movie. I don't know if it's gonna happen, but if Tarantino can think about it, you know.
I mean, just to put a bow on this, Guillaume, obviously, like you said, this is your first time in a role of this size. How has sort of being a part of the festival tour and being able to take this movie around the world and see audiences, especially film audiences, react to this been for you as a not just as an actor, but I mean as a creative type? Because again, this is one of those movies that to me can, if it finds the right audiences, can be end up being very inspirational for people.
Sure. And yeah, I've been watching festival from the eye of, like, the most time I've been in festival is to buy movies, because I work for
Right,
distribution,
right.
DTV. So I used to buy movies to distribute them directly to video, so directly in DVD
Yeah.
or online on platforms. And uh and so I watched the actors doing their thing like on the red carpets and like presenting the movie, and it was like really like shiny
Yeah.
and something that feels untouchable and very like unique in a life that you cannot have, you know. It's untouchable. And once you go to the other side or other side, it felt exactly the same, but the difference is like you are in it
Right.
and you feel like people don't know that you are in it, like you just like sneaked in, you know.
You're on
And
the other side of the bubble and you're hoping nobody catches you. No, I get it. Yeah.
yeah, you're in the VIP room, but you're not supposed to be there, you know. But you're obviously supposed to be there because you played in the movie, but
Of
it doesn't
course.
feel that way. It feels like uh, why I'm here. It's unbelievable. So I get so much fun, like just playing around with this and trying to be in the moment and to record those memories in my head because it feels surreal because there is so many festival now wanting to welcome the movie,
Mm.
but still like every moment like there was one time I was on stage with Zoe presenting the movie in Deauville, and I told her, be careful, enjoy the stage, it won't last. And she said, yeah, you're right, it won't last. Because as soon as as it's done the next day, like the day you are in, you think it's gonna be for forever, you know. It feels like some kind of a moment forever, you know. And the day after, it feels just like a memory that is so surreal that never happened. And then you see some crazy photos online of you didn't you didn't want to be in those pictures because you were so happy that it doesn't translate in picture. It's much more fun in videos.
Well, and I mean, it's one of those things where this is such a glorious commentary on the art of it all. And it's one of those things where I can imagine for someone like you, even for someone like Zoe, who's a bit more well known, has a few credits under her belt, being able to take part in something like this that is such a commentary on uh, not only the history of the art form of cinema, but also kind of giving us a glimpse on where we could take it going down the road has got to be a special moment.
Yeah, and yeah, just a word on Zoe. She's fantastic in the movie, and
Yeah,
she doesn't know a word of French. She learned it all just for the movie. She understands like what she's saying because she has the translation, but she didn't speak French before doing this project, and she didn't do any ADR for the movie. So
yeah.
it's light striking, you know, like in Breathless. And and yeah, you know, and this really pictures the sentiment I had during making this movie, that in the eyes of every crew members, I saw like just the joy of being there, like
Yeah.
playing around, like you're a kid playing with little statues and making stories and making fun. And also you see in their eyes, like, of course I'm paid to do this movie, but deeply inside, secretly, if I wasn't paid, I would have done it.
You'd have done it anyway.
I would have done it anyway. And also like if I get fired and I don't give 100%, I'm sure the line would be so long for people just to want to do it, the movie, because there are other movies that, yeah, you know, not everybody would be happy to make. But this one really particularly was this kind of movie that I think everybody thought they were lucky to make it.
It's the joy of storytelling. It's the joy of making movies. It's why we're all here in the first place. But I mean,
Yeah,
I'm so glad this is getting a theatrical in Canada because this is one of those movies that deserves to be seen that way. And I mean, honestly, I look forward to going to repertory houses for years to watch Breathless and this back to back or other way around because it's going to be this is going to be one of those movies that will have an audience for decades, in my opinion.
yeah,
And honestly, it's such a pleasure to talk to you, and I mean, I'm so glad this was such a great experience
yeah.
working with Richard. And just again, thank you for the time, man. I appreciate it, and congrats on the work.
Yeah, you're welcome. And also, I think it's important to say to younger people that don't know anything about New Wave, Godard, Truffaut, or cinema at all. This is an invitation of being part of a movie set, even if you don't know anything about it. You're gonna have fun. You're gonna see if movie making is something for you or not. And it's not gonna be too intellectual, I promise. It's gonna be just fun and freeing. And if you're struggling with a project and you don't know where to go and you're just lost in your words and in your head, this is a movie that can free you and tell you like this is not so difficult. There are rules, there are tools, use them the way you want.
There's joy in the learning process of it all. No, you're absolutely right, man. But I mean, again, thanks for the work and thanks for the time today. I appreciate it.
You're welcome, David. Thank you
Alrighty.
very much.
And don't forget to visit our friends over at Bay Street Video for all your DVD, Blu-ray rental, or purchasing needs this summer, as they are still open for curbside and some mailing delivery as well. Over at 1172 Bay Street, Toronto, Ontario, Canada, you can give them a call at 416-964-9088. That's 416-964-9088. Or send them an email at baystreetvideoto@gmail.com for any of your DVD and Blu-ray needs.